This is not Hollywood fiction, nor is it an ancient folk legend. The story of Atlantis, a magnificent city with technology beyond its time, was recorded by Plato himself more than 2,300 years ago. A powerful, splendid civilization, and then disappeared in just one night and one day. Is Atlantis a hidden historical truth or just a philosophical metaphor? Let's explore. To understand why Atlantis has haunted us for more than 2 millennia, we must go back to Plato's description, the first person to mention it. According to Plato, Atlantis was not only a powerful island nation, but also a civilization far beyond his own time. And the three factors that made Atlantis special were concentric, circular architecture, advanced technology, and formidable military power. First, let's talk about concentric circles, a design that almost never appeared in ancient reality. The central city of Atlantis was built like giant rings, with 3 earth and circles, alternating with 2 water canals connected by bridges and canals. At the center was the temple of the sea god Poseidon, symbolizing their supreme faith and power. Many researchers believe that this design not only provided good defense, but also demonstrated a superior level of urban planning, something rare in ancient history. Today, similar designs only appear in future smart cities. Next, we have advanced technology. Plato tells us that Atlantis had large-scale farming systems, intelligent irrigation systems, and especially the ability to mine a precious metal called orichalcum, a metal described only in mythology, a bright red color and second in value only to gold. Some modern theories also suggest that with such a description, Atlantis may have known how to use energy, even had a basic understanding of electricity or magnetism, something that would be extraordinary, placed in the context of thousands of years ago. And finally, the element that made Atlantis fearful to other civilizations, its terrible military power. Atlantis possessed a powerful navy warships, elite soldiers, and once intended to dominate the entire ancient world, including Athens, but just as they reached their peak, they also began to decline. Arrogance, greed, and moral decay angered the gods, and Atlantis, according to Plato, sank into the sea after just one fateful night. Some believe this is a philosophical warning. Others believe it is the remaining memory of a real civilization, perhaps sunk by a geological disaster, or something greater that humanity has yet to fully understand. Plato wrote that Atlantis disappeared in just one night and one day, without anyone having time to react. That short sentence has given rise to countless chilling theories. Could such a huge civilization be wiped out so quickly by nature alone? Or was there something more terrible? Some researchers believe that this is a sign of a major natural disaster like an earthquake, a tsunami, or a supervolcanic eruption. Imagine an empire on a large island near the edge of a tectonic plate, and with just a strong enough geological change, it could be submerged forever. But there are also more controversial theories. Some believe that Plato was hinting at a terrible weapon of destruction, something we would today call a nuclear weapon. For how could a civilization as advanced, developed, and vast as Atlantis be wiped out in just a few hours? This hypothesis becomes even more compelling when compared to other legends, from the biblical flood, the Indian Ramayana, to the legends of Lemuria or Mu, all of which tell of civilizations collapsing suddenly after a heavenly event. So is a night and a day not just a metaphor, but a warning that when humans overstep their limits, when technology overtakes morality, the end result is not glory but destruction. If Atlantis ever existed, it has long since disappeared from the face of the earth. But that hasn't stopped thousands of years of searching for its remains. And so far 3 areas have been the most talked about: the Atlantic, the Mediterranean, and even Antarctica. Plato wrote that Atlantis was located beyond the Strait of Heracles, the Strait of Gibraltar today. This led many to believe that Atlantis was somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic. These theories gained popularity after ancient stone maps, such as the Piri Resh, were discovered, or when explorers claimed to have seen submerged structures. Some even believe that the Bermuda Triangle is where Atlantis once existed, with strange magnetic phenomena, missing planes, and garbled radio signals. However, many scientists argue that the mid-Atlantic region does not have the geological evidence to support such a large, submerged continent for several thousand years. Some modern scholars have come up with a surprising hypothesis. Atlantis was not in the middle of a distant ocean, but right in the Mediterranean Sea, near Greece, near Egypt, just like the context in which Plato lived. A strong candidate is the island of Santorini Thera, where a terrible volcanic eruption occurred around 1600 BC. The explosion was so powerful that it blew away most of the island, creating a tsunami that devastated the Minoan civilization, a civilization with advanced urban areas, underground sewers, and terraced palaces very similar to Plato's description. This hypothesis is considered the most feasible in terms of archaeology, but also has a weakness. It goes against the timeline of 9,000 years before Plato wrote. It may sound far-fetched, but there is a group of scholars who believe that Antarctica is Atlantis, but that it slid toward the South Pole in a movement of the Earth's crust called a pole shift. They rely on ancient maps like the Piri Resh or Orantius Phineas, which depicted an iceless continent to the south before Antarctica was officially discovered. According to this theory, Atlantis could have been a temperate, fertile region that was buried under ice after a global catastrophe. The problem is that no real archaeological evidence has been found on this icy continent, at least not yet. Some believe Plato was simply telling a moral tale. Others believe he drew on ancient Egyptian memories of a real lost civilization, but clearly, the story of Atlantis is more than just a myth. It is an enduring symbol of the great question: how great was man once, and how could he lose it all? Plato described Atlantis as having concentric architecture, canal systems, advanced technology, and unimaginable military power. But the strangest thing is not that the city existed, but how it disappeared, submerged overnight. Was it a natural disaster, a weapon of mass destruction, or a global event that wiped out civilization? Backhand index pointing right. Stay tuned for part 2. Undersea structures where the truth may lie waiting to be discovered.